Malcolm X is one of my all-time heroes. He's largely known for rising from a life of criminal activities to being one of the Nation of Islam's most visible, charismatic, and polarizing figures. As a young person, I came to know Malcolm's work fighting white supremacy. My ongoing learning then led me to a whole new level of powerful realization about him. Malcolm X was one of the most authentic leaders, authentic humans I had ever encountered to date. His story is filled with trauma and fighting, and more importantly, his personal life was lived in alignment with his espoused values. He was willing to humbly follow as well as embody the courage to lead. He was filled with a thirst for knowledge and truth that ultimately led him to speak out against his own previous convictions. He was willing to say he had been wrong and then to stand in the lonely arena of public opinion. As a person who spent my entire life battling my own inner fears, Malcolm X is a brilliant representation of what leadership can look like and what I can strive to be. That's what Black History Month is to me, a reminder to actively reflect on all those who came before me, who came before us. People who provide reminders about all that I have to be thankful for because of the brilliance, the dedication, the sweat, the suffering, and even the sacrifice of Black people. It's a time to fill our children with positive stories. And that doesn't mean just me and my child. Black history is history. It's your history too. Did you know, though, that Black folks and people of color, more broadly, we talk more proactively to our children about identity than do white parents? Do you know why? It's because we have to. We have to teach our children to navigate a world that was not built for them. We convey special tips that don't apply to everyone. It's just us and for purposes of survival. In addition, we realize that the stories being told about us, about people like us, it isn't the full picture. It often centers on the trauma. I can vividly remember having this conversation with my then 8-year-old son. It was February, and I asked him if Black History Month was being discussed in his school, and he said that the class had read a story about slavery. I asked him, was that the only discussion? And he said, yeah. So I asked him, did you say anything during that discussion? He said, no. Mom, it's too embarrassing. Everyone in the whole class just looks at me like all I am is a slave. This discussion is an example of what I, as a Black mom, must engage in. Further, I have to encounter the incredibly negative impact of slavery-based conversations that are literally sometimes the only mention of Black culture he is exposed to in his formal education. My impact from there becomes exponentially less effective. So yes, I talk to the teachers and the administrators. Yes, they put the ball squarely back into my court by asking me to do the resourcing for their jobs, providing them with lists of books or other ways in which they might approach their pedagogy. And I'm totally at a loss when it comes to unraveling all of the negative, stereotypical, and inaccurate information that's been shared with all of the other students in the class. So here's my point. Black history is not my job to teach, to dispel inaccuracies about. It's our shared history. It's one of the many moments that I honor, celebrate, and give thanks for those who came before me. And it's your opportunity to begin sharing some of the effort for charting a better, more inclusive, more accurate, and more equitable future.